I think the influence on my dad gives me two different perspectives. Like it's the active influence where it's like I'm talking to him about ideas. Like just the other day we were talking about like wall sconces and me using my ability to make like lampshades out of ceramic, and then he has the eye to be able to see what it would look like in a actual like environment. So I'll text him pictures and be like, what do you think of this? Does this work for those things? And I get the opportunity to also be able to display those like more commercialized pieces of mine, the modern mid-century stuff that I make in the house that he built. So I'm able to actually see what it would look like in an environment. And one of the questions I was asked in undergrad was, if you're making pieces for a space, where do you make the pieces for? And I had a long time of just like figuring out how to answer that question. And I eventually settled on, at the time, because of my bringing up, it was making pieces for my parents' house, just because that's what I was the most comfortable with. So. So it gave me a really good perspective. Like working with Richard gave me a really good perspective on how an actual artist works, because like for the most part, our connection with like the professional art career is like we have a really great community in Kansas City when it comes to ceramic artists specifically. So you're able to look at people like Meredith Ho, Chandra Debuse, people who are making it as ceramic artists. So seeing the perspective of someone who is making it as an artist out in Pope Valley or, in the Napa Valley, it's like the economy is a little bit different. The perspective on the way that you're making things for people is a little different, because you have to, it's a completely different environment than the Midwest. So seeing that perspective and seeing how I guess you can kind of run your own business. And at the time when I was working for him, he was just starting the Carter and Company, flagship like dishware company. So I was helping a lot with like the prototyping. So I was seeing a lot of that kind of world, and like the firing process and things like that. So it was a really great environment. And he also gave me a completely different perspective on life that I've never really considered. So it was a really great opportunity for the time I was working with him. When it comes to functionality, I've always had these kind of questions of like, what does it mean to be functional? So during my artist talk, I was talking about when I was making table settings, I would always have a plate, a large plate, small plate, bowl, and then a cup, and then a centerpiece of some sort, a vase, some sort of like napkin holder, salt and pepper shakers, something that has like not only like the function of a salt and pepper shaker, but also the question of like, what is a conversation starter? And I feel like when it comes to like table making, the conversation within a group, I think that serves the function of like breaking the ice or something like that. So now that I'm making these large sculptural pieces, I'm starting to see a conversation that happens in the studio or in the gallery. So I see those kind of conversations as important. It's like when we see pieces around here where it's like talking about a lot of current events. I feel like there's a lot of hidden meanings that a lot of people don't realize underneath artists' work. So yeah. So I don't know if you've read my artist statement, but I talk about how ceramics has this fluidity, this impressionable kind of like way to push and pull this material that also becomes a rigid, hard, unmovable object. So the flexibility gives me the ability to put those geometric rigidness into the clay, so way more successfully than a bunch of other materials. So I think that the fact that the clay is so fluid and you can move it wherever, gives you so many different options. The fact that you can look out to like, especially at this gallery, like we're all pretty much using the same material, but we're all touching it differently, and we're all, you know, it's all reading is differently, but it's all pretty much the same material. Of course, there's a little bit of like, you know, variety between each clay body, but it's all the same material, which I always find so impressive. So the residency at Belger's, like both times I've done it, now as a visiting artist and previously as a foundation resident, has given me the opportunity to work and talk with so many more people. Really, like I was talking about earlier with Richard Carter, is like really opening up the perspective, and because it's like we're all students, no matter how much education we have, we're always constantly having to learn from other people, and so just that exposure to someone who's not like me has always been so, I think, beneficial for me as a person, which is why I always like kind of really prided this place, you know, really well, is because of the diversity within the community. Ah, that's a great question. So I think it's a lot of um, I think there's a lot of push, because it's like we always, whenever someone describes someone's pieces, we have our own vision of what they look like, and so it's like when someone gives me a critique of my work, I always take it with a grain of salt, because it's always like they're only seeing a fraction of my perspective. You know, it's like the idea of like we're all our own main characters, and we all have gone through our own like life challenges and all that stuff. Like my perspective is coming from a like seeing drawings become real life, you know, and things like that. So I have like so I have my own way of working, and you're going to come and see my work and you go, well, have you thought about doing it this way or this way? But you're coming at it with a completely different perspective. So I think having that push and pull with other artists has been really great, because they tend to see your work in a completely different way that you will never see, and it's always so impressive just how like immensely creative people can be. I guess the spaces, I think I'm trying to build the spaces with the pieces. So like the thing with the tessellations is how far you can push a pattern. How I think that's been the question that I'm trying to answer with these pieces right now. Like I like the fact that these pieces are relatively weak on their own, but as soon as you start to build them on top of each other and start layering them, then all of a sudden they get that strength, and they're so much stronger on their own, like together when they're all separate. So I see that like that dynamic, especially with the fact that I'm using a material that can be broken if you just accidentally drop it, you know. So I think that there's something that's really exciting about that. Like I always ask my students is like, what's the thing that gets you up in the morning? Like for me, it's like these ideas that I have. Like when I was first starting making those prisms and figuring out how to tessellate them, like the snowflake pieces and the star pieces and the fan pieces. A lot of those pieces, like I would wake up at like 4 in the morning and be in studio by like 4:30. You know, like in there working in the studio, just because it what motivates me. You know, seeing the potential of this material, seeing the potential of these patterns. I've been really excited about that.